Hey, deserving listeners, Love is Blind. It's out today. I'm going to watch, and maybe you'll watch me watching it if you want to. Won't you join me? Let's watch. I will say that I actually know that song. It's the Honey Drippers, right? With Robert Plant. Normally, they're playing a song and I'm making fun of it, and then everyone tells me that it's a beloved song by a beloved artist.
If you ever heard the saying that you have to fall out of love with your type in order to find your husband, my type has honestly gotten me nowhere. That's why I'm here.
I will say that there's a lot of wisdoms that people will follow like that. And, you know, there's nothing wrong with having those, and it could be true. It's just hard to test these kinds of things. But the thing that I just want to tell people, even in their 30s, which usually these folks are, is that it's kind of the luck of the draw to find the right person. It's such a long process to determine when someone isn't the right person, right? Not only do you have to do all the dating and the ups and downs of that, but also you have to try people out for a while. And you might not know until 2-3 years in. You might not even know who you are and what sort of relationship you want to have given your needs and stuff. So I think that a lot of people think that they're failing or that there's something wrong with them. And, you know, it takes a long time to find the right person if we're looking for someone who is going to be our life partner, our best friend, someone that we can tell our most deepest secrets to, someone that we are attracted to, someone that has similar interests, someone that is single, someone that is nearby, someone that wants the same goals in life, like kids or not kids or whatever. It's a tall order, so you know, it makes sense that it would take a while. And I find that some people, when they are answering these questions, whether on the show or otherwise, I just want to say, you know, it just takes time.
Growing up, I was in the foster care system all my life, being with multiple families.
He grew up in the foster care system. As someone that worked with a lot of foster kids at the beginning of my career, I've been a therapist for 30 years. The first 10 years, I would say about a third of my clients were kids, mostly teens, but many of them were in foster care or were adopted, and it became a bit of a specialty of mine in a sense. And that's when I really learned about attachment theory firsthand. Very often with foster kids and with adopted kids, there is attachment injury. Adoption right after birth or within the first few months, maybe the first 6 months, then there isn't that risk of attachment injury that will last throughout one's life. But in foster care, it's almost universal that there's going to be attachment issues, right? Now, if you are sent to a foster home when you're really young or when you're older, right? If things are going pretty well for you in life, and then say both your parents die and there's no one to go to, and at 15 you go into a foster home, then the attachment disruption isn't going to be as severe. I mean, obviously losing your parents is going to be rough, but in terms of the neurological result that we see of attachment disruption early in life is, you know, not usually present. So, you know, we'll see. But people can recover. They can have a lot of protective factors, like maybe they're really connected with their grandparents, but their grandparents aren't able to take them into their home, so they're in a foster home. Maybe their foster parents are really great. So it just kind of depends. Personal, different, you know, resilience, that kind of thing. So, you know, we'll see how Edmund does.
I'm a single parent, so I definitely feel like there's been a few times where, you know, I tell the lady I have a...
Yeah, I'm surprised we haven't seen more of that. I wonder if it's part of the screening process. I'm not sure. But I would say on average, for the average single American going into one's 30s, but even in one's 20s, that the majority of single people past a certain age would have kids. Now, we have seen some, right? I remember Brittany, like you're going to choke. She had a kid that she talked about. But yeah, it's also possible that a number of people do have kids. Actually, now I think about it, you know, there's a good percentage of people that don't make it to the next round, meaning that they didn't find someone or no one picked them. And I wonder how many of those folks had kids and were not chosen because of that, which is, you know, fine. People can have their preferences. But Anyway, so Jordan has a kid.
So I've done very well for myself professionally. I think, it takes a very confident and secure man to be with a woman like.
It's 2025, people. Do we really have men that are threatened by a partner who is doing well in life? If anything, it would be an absolute bonus, right? I would think so. Anyway, I am wondering about what city region this is in the United States, and I thought I would maybe try to speculate based on stereotype. I don't hear any Minnesota or West Virginia because, when they were in D.C. and there was some Virginia accents. And also, I'm trying to think of what cities they haven't done it in. They haven't done it in L.A. In terms of jobs, UX, UI designer, that seems kind of West Coast, but they could be anywhere, right? Let's see. I'm going to take a guess and say California somewhere.
And in just 4 weeks, you will be at your wedding, and you'll make the most important decision of your life.
It is so interesting that even after 8 previous seasons, I'm still on the edge of my seat because we have 30 people. I think one season they had 32 that we just don't know. I mean, it could be any of these. That's what's kind of interesting about this show is that you don't know. And the show doesn't know, right? People will say that it's all engineered, but at least the majority of the relationships aren't engineered because, people actually get married and have kids and stay together. So it is real life that's happening before us. You have 30 people all eager, wanting to meet someone, and some people are going to meet people and some people aren't. Some people are going to meet someone and get hurt. So they're all on the precipice and we're there with them.
Is love truly blind?
I think I saw a HAPA guy. By the way, if they were in California, I would imagine we'd see more Asian Americans. So maybe not California. Then I'm thinking, where else? Detroit, Boston. I don't know. I feel like they're not gonna. They don't usually tell. I think I have to look it up. Denver. I didn't. I didn't guess that at all. 32. Okay, so we got 32 people. Denver. Yeah, Denver's nice. Denver's beautiful, really.
But I've only ever watched 2 TV shows.
That might be a problem.
Only ever watched 2 TV shows. Why is that so interesting to me? Like homeschooled, maybe? Or not into it? Disciplined around not wanting to get into TV?
What if I told you I have a tattoo of a cat? Would you believe me?
Yes.
What if I told you I had 5 tattoos of cats?
No, you don't.
Well, I was going to say, with his sleeves, he probably has a lot of things. So to have a cat in there somewhere isn't too strange. But to have 5 cats? Wow. Like his cats? I could see myself doing it. I don't have any tattoos, but if I did, maybe that would be on the short list.
Cats are sick.
I'm gonna write down.
Cats are sick, bro.
I dated my high school boyfriend on and off for like 10 years.
All right, so just jotting down. I feel like this season I'm getting a lot more actual noteworthy data in the very beginning because often it's just a lot of fluff. Now, a lot of these people probably aren't going to move forward, so these notes might be in vain, but sometimes they will focus early. I don't know. I'm trying to predict who will be focused on, who will make it to the next phase.
I've never not been cheated on, so that's great.
Okay, so Casey says, I've never not been cheated on, so that's great. Yeah. That's rough.
There was another hot blonde always on the horizon because I was like, wait, why don't I look like that girl though?
Oh, I was confused. I thought she was talking about men saying, oh, there's always another hot blonde guy. But she's referring to the other women that she was cheated on. So, yeah, it's sad.
Doing concerts around Korea.
Whoa, have you ever been to Korea?
I haven't. I really would love to go.
Oh, okay.
Have you?
I have not.
Big on the list. So I grew up Mormon.
All right, so she's saying she's Mormon, so I'm going to write that down. And I was wondering because she has 5 siblings. That's not always the case, but it is a thing. And wait, did she say she grew up Mormon?
I have not.
Big on the list. So I grew up Mormon.
Okay, so grew up Mormon. I'll jot that down. But I wonder if he is Korean. I don't know. But if he is, then I wonder if this is like with, what's her name? I forget her name. But where you are instructed, guided to not reveal anything about how you look, and your race, your ethnicity is an indicator of maybe how you look, and, you know, love is blind, right? So I wonder if this is one of those situations where we're already running into that, right? Now, he says he hasn't been to Korea. And, you know, I rewound it to see if she said grew up. So grew up meaning that maybe she isn't anymore. I don't know.
I'm not Mormon anymore, but my dad served his...
My major insecurity in the past was being an Asian American man in a predominantly Caucasian area.
Yeah, me too. I'm older, so that was more prevalent in the, well, not really. Depends on where you grew up. But anyway, yeah, same.
I got adopted by my stepdad. My parents split when I was younger, so I kept my original father's last name, and
He got adopted, but his stepdad, oh, so his parents split, then he lived with his mom, presumably primarily. Mom remarried, stepdad adopted him, and he took his stepdad's last name.
Growing up, my parents definitely hoped for me to find someone who looked like me, a nice Chinese man.
Oh, okay. So Anna is Chinese.
I am a single dad. I actually got snipped.
Oh.
All right, so we're learning a little bit about 5 cat tattoo guy.
Do you mind if I ask why your last relationship ended?
Interesting question. Jordan is his name, and he's the 5 cat tattoo guy. Interesting question. And if I was to concisely answer the question, what should I look for in a partner? What's a green flag? What's a red flag? How do you figure that out when you're dating? This was the question that or some version of that, of, you know, tell me about how you, what was the question?
That's why your last relationship ended?
And it's a good way of asking, do you mind? And why did your last relationship end? Now, it's not a slam dunk indication of anything. People can be distorted. They could have just had bad luck. They could obscure, whatever. But yeah, I think on average, especially if you ask them to tell you truthfully about a series of breakups that they've been through, it would likely illuminate something. Not all the time. Like I said, you can have bad luck, but you know, it likely says something. Like I'm remembering last season, right, with Madison. I think from my memory, the way she talked about her, remember Mason, Madison, and Alex, and Madison would talk, and Madison asked some great questions in the pods. I was actually praising her and Alex for that. Whether or not they're good people, we'll never know. But anyway, so Madison was telling us that a lot of her relationships had been disasters, and it raises questions, and I suppose I should at least briefly talk about what questions it raises. So the question, I guess, that we can never know for sure, right? But the question that it raises is, if someone had their past 5 relationships, all disasters, they're not friends with any of those people, could be bad luck, or could just be the way that they're framing it. But there's a possibility that the common denominator in those breakups was themselves. And the disaster aspect of it is due to something about their personality. Not all the time, at all, but I'll just say that concisely. You know, we'll watch.
He was just not at a point in his life where he was ready for marriage. Gone through some shitty relationships myself, and I'm ready to find my person.
Here's the thing. I would consider our aesthetics quite opposite, right?
This is interesting because on one hand, Megan W. Sparkles, as she will frequently say, that's what her friends call her, which I don't have a problem with. I don't know if they're trying to make fun of her, but they keep showing, because, you know, there's a lot of small talk stuff that happens, but they keep highlighting that every time she sits down with someone, she's like, everyone calls me Sparkle Megan because I love sparkles, or something like that. And I don't have a problem with that at all, because you're meeting 15 people, and the chance that what, you're going to come up with 15 completely original sets of things that you're going to say. That's silly. But anyway, so for her, this is interesting because they've been really focusing on her problem in the past, or her preference of the future, of not being with someone that is intimidated by her and her success. And she also was talking with Mike, and she was saying that she wants traditional gender roles. It kind of sounded like she wanted, well, she literally said, I want a man who would take care of me. I think what she means is that she might not have liked being with men that felt below her somehow, maybe career-wise or something. I don't know. I'm just reading between the lines. But it's interesting because with Jordan, right, I have to scroll through everybody. Jordan, he is not the sort of guy that would inspire the prediction that he would be financially above her, or at least at her level. So that's something that it will concern her. But at the same time, life-wise, he is looking for something similar to her, you know, family and this kind of thing. But I imagine a lot of people are on the show. But also just the way that he is approaching this, his confidence. I wonder if that'll change things for Megan W. All right, well, let's adjourn there for now. There's more to watch, of course. I'm curious what will happen. And everyone out there, please take care of yourself because you deserve it. You really, really do.